The interior design trends I saw everywhere at Arhaus and Crate Barrel got me thinking which ones are actually worth investing in and which ones we should admire from a distance. Last week I asked you if you preferred a collected home or a curated home, and what surprised me wasn't which one won, it was why. So many of you talked about family furniture, antiques, pieces collected over time, and not wanting to waste money chasing trends. That got me thinking, maybe the real question isn't what's trending, maybe it's what's actually worth investing in, because those are two completely different questions. After all, just because a $6,000 sofa is trending at our house doesn't mean it's the smartest investment for your home. Because the goal isn't to have the trendiest home, it's to have a home you'll still love 10 years from now. Some of these trends I'd invest in tomorrow. Others I'd only buy if it was on clearance. And a few I'd admire and leave right where they are. So today I'm separating what's timeless from what's trendy before you spend your money. When I'm deciding whether something's worth recommending, I don't ask myself, do I like it? Instead, I ask 4 questions. Will it still look beautiful 10 years from now? Is it expensive to replace? Does it work with lots of decorating styles? And is it becoming a long-term design direction or simply a trend? One thing I noticed in the comments from my last video is that so many of you said, stay away from trends. And while I understand that advice, I actually think it's a little more nuanced than that. Because trends aren't the problem. Knowing where to use them, that's the real secret. Hi, I'm Nikki D, your interior design bestie and 28-year homeowner, here to help you create a designer-inspired home without expensive mistakes. If that's your vibe, make sure you subscribe for a new video every week. If you watched parts 1 and 2 of this series, we talked about why rooms at Arhaus and Crate Barrel feel expensive, and then we explored the biggest design trends showing up in both stores. Today, we're taking it one step further. We're deciding what's actually worth bringing home. Let's start with the trend that everyone seems to be talking about, curved furniture. We talked about how curved furniture is everywhere, so here's my verdict. I think it's worth investing in, with a few exceptions. Soft curves have been around for decades. We saw them during the Art Deco movement, mid-century modern, and now they've returned in a softer, more organic way. That's the reason I don't see gentle curves going away anytime soon. Curved sofas work beautifully in open concept homes because they help define a seating area, soften the straight architectural lines, and naturally encourage conversation since people are angled toward one another. But before you invest thousands, there are a few things to think about. They're not always the best for lounging. They don't sit flush against the wall, and because of their shape, they usually require more floor space than a traditional sofa. If I was spending $6,000 on a curved sofa, I'd choose one with gentle curves, not an extreme sculptural shape. I'd also keep the fabric timeless, something like performance velvet, a linen blend, or a textured woven fabric. If you're simply curious about the trend, I'd introduce curves in an accent chair instead. A $600 accent chair is a much smaller commitment than replacing a $6,000 sofa later. One viewer shared that she still has a velvet barrel chair that's almost 20 years old, and she was thrilled to see it come back in style. That's actually the perfect example of why I think gentle curves are a smart investment. Designer tip, if you're investing in a large piece of furniture, let the silhouette be trendy or the fabric be trendy, not both. Another trend I'd absolutely invest in, with one important caveat, is warmth. A lot of you commented that you've always loved warm neutrals. That's very different than buying something simply because it's trending. If warm colors have always been your style, then it isn't really a trend for you. It's just your style. I love warm neutrals in furnishings because they're incredibly flexible. Ivory, taupe, camel, mushroom, those colors can work with so many decorating styles over the years. Where I'd be more cautious is with permanent finishes. Kitchen countertops, cabinet colors, those are more expensive to replace. I know because I chose warm granite countertops almost 20 years ago. While I still appreciate the quality, if I were designing my kitchen today, I'd probably make a different choice. But replacing it simply because trends changed doesn't make financial sense. Instead, bring warmth in through rugs, pillows, throws, artwork, accent chairs. And here's one question I always ask myself. Does this trend actually feel like me? Think about your wardrobe. If you've always loved caramel, olive green, brown, and earthy colors, then you'll probably love them in your home for years. My wardrobe has always been mostly black, white, ivory, with little pops of pink. That's one reason I personally enjoy warmth in moderation instead of committing my entire home to it. Designer tip: keep permanent finishes timeless. Use accessories to experiment with trends. Trend 3, oversized furniture. One of you made a great point. You mentioned oversized furniture doesn't make sense when so many people are living in smaller homes. I completely agree. The trend really isn't about bigger furniture, it's about creating a more comfortable way to live. It's about comfort, movie nights, conversations, relaxing, actually living in your home instead of just looking at it. If you have an open floor plan, deep seating can be wonderful. If you have a smaller home, multiple doorways, or difficult traffic flow, traditional scale may actually work much better. Remember, showrooms are enormous. Your living room probably isn't. Before ordering custom furniture, measure everything. That's exactly why I created my free floor plan guide linked below. Trust me, expensive furniture returns are no fun. We've talked about individual pieces like sofas and furniture, but the most timeless trend I noticed wasn't actually a piece of furniture at all. It was the way designers are putting rooms together. Trend 4, a collected home never goes out of style. This was actually my favorite takeaway from your comments. Almost everyone chose collected, but what I loved most was why. Family heirlooms, consignment finds, travel souvenirs, real wood furniture, pieces filled with memories. One viewer said a collected home saves money over a lifetime. I couldn't agree more. This trend isn't about buying more, it's about buying better. One thing I always encourage homeowners to do when walking through beautiful stores like Arhaus and Crate Barrel is this. Be inspired by what you see on the showroom floor, but don't feel like you have to buy everything you see. Instead, ask yourself, how can I recreate this feeling using what I already own? Maybe you already own the sofa but need different accent chairs. Maybe your coffee table still works but your side tables need updating. Maybe your rug is the piece that's making your room feel dated. Or maybe instead of replacing everything, you simply need better lighting, a larger rug, or a few layers of texture. The goal isn't to copy the showroom. Showrooms are designed to sell furniture. Your home is designed to support your life. That's a very different goal. The goal is to understand why it works. Then recreate that using the pieces you already have and fill in the gaps with pieces that you're missing. That's exactly how designers think. We don't start from scratch every time. We evaluate what's already working, keep the pieces that still make sense, and invest where the room needs the most help. Designer rooms never buy the entire furniture collection. They mix, they layer, they evolve over time, and honestly, I think that's why so many of you chose collected over curated in the comments. Designer tip: don't shop for a room, shop for the missing pieces that complete the room. If there's one thing I tell every homeowner to invest in, it's layered lighting. Not expensive lighting, layered lighting. Table lamps, floor lamps, picture lights, sconces, dimmers. Lighting changes how a room feels, and that's often what people mistake for luxury. You don't need to copy the showroom, just copy the lighting strategy. If you only change one thing this year, add another layer of lighting. It's one of the fastest ways to make a room feel expensive without replacing your furniture. Here's something I don't think homeowners think about enough: the cost of making the wrong decision. A trendy pillow, maybe an $80 mistake. Artwork, a couple $100. An accent chair, a few hundred more. A coffee table, hundreds. A sofa, thousands. Kitchen countertops, many thousands. The more expensive something is, the more timeless it needs to be. And here's what's interesting. Some of the least expensive trends on today's list ended up being the smartest investments. Trend 6, texture and mixed materials. This is probably the safest investment in today's video. Texture never goes out of style. Instead of choosing everything in the same smooth fabric, mix a linen sofa with a leather chair, a wood coffee table, a stone lamp, and a woven basket. That's what makes a room feel layered, collected, and expensive. Texture is what keeps a neutral room from feeling flat. It's one of the biggest reasons expensive rooms feel layered and inviting. This is something I'd invest in every single time. Trend 7, heritage details and glamour. This is where I'd be more careful. I actually love seeing reeded wood, fringe, printed fabrics, and touches of old Hollywood glamour. But I'd introduce those through smaller pieces. An ottoman, an accent table, a lamp, a bench, not my sofa, because smaller pieces are much easier to update as styles evolve. I actually love a little glamour in my own home. You'll see lacquer, brass, and reflective finishes, but they're supporting pieces. My largest furniture investments stay much more classic. Designer secret. Before we wrap up, let me share one thing I always do when I visit stores like Arhaus and Crate Barrel. I always walk through the clearance section, not because I'm looking for deals, because clearance tells a story. Trend pieces move. That's why I never panic if I don't buy something immediately. If it's truly timeless, chances are it'll still be there the next season. Designer collaborations come and go, but the furniture that stays on the showroom floor season after season, those are often the best sellers. Those are usually the pieces people continue buying year after year, and that's valuable information when you're investing in furniture you'll hopefully own for decades. The biggest thing I hope you'll take away from today's video is that timeless decorating isn't about avoiding trends. It's about knowing where to use them. I actually love trends. I just don't feel the need to bring every single one home with me. Sometimes it's perfectly okay to admire something, appreciate it, and leave it right where it is. The goal isn't to recreate an Arhaus showroom. The goal isn't to recreate a Crate Barrel showroom. The goal is to understand why these rooms work. Then recreate that feeling in a way that reflects your home, your lifestyle, and your budget. Because that's what timeless design has always been about. Next week, we're taking this one step further. I'm going back into Arhaus and Crate Barrel to show you exactly what I'd buy, what I'd wait to buy on sale, and what I'd leave sitting in the showroom. If you're trying to figure out your own decorating style, don't forget to take my free design quiz linked below. And if you'd like help designing your home step by step, check out Designer Home 101. If you enjoyed the series so far, please give the video a thumbs up, share it with a friend who's decorating their home, and subscribe so you don't miss a new video every week. Love you all so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, happy designing. Ciao.